Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is another paid request, this time from MegaPorkChopExpress. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, commentaries, reactions, reviews, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for episode 1 of the Hellsing Ultimate OVA. And Hellsing is one of those I've heard of, but I'd never seen. Now, apparently there was an older show, but this is, was it 2001 or something? Forgive me for not getting the date right. This is one that came around 2016, and definitely has better animation compared to the clips I saw on the older one. Much more crisp, much more dynamic. In particular, I should say, with the action scenes. And the dialogue scenes, there's a lot of characters being very still and not moving, but you hear the dialogue. But when the action begins, there's some shots that seem like a little bit John Woo type, and pretty much the episode 1, it's this uncle's ready to kill this niece because she inherited the Hellsing organization, and the niece is called Integra. She was told by a loved one that if you get into deep trouble, go into the basement, and there's a secret weapon. She does, she finds a corpse, she's like, what the hell? She gets wounded, the blood hits the corpse comes back, and it is a vampire called Alucard, which you come to find out will serve Integra. She will be his master, and he's a vampire that kind of loves being a vampire, and kills other vampires. So you have this very OP, I mean overpowered to the extreme, vampire killer who's also a vampire. He can regenerate like crazy, he enjoys the fight, he enjoys killing lesser vampires. And then it'll cut to the present day where Integra has grown up and much more of a leader of this organization that eradicates supernatural threats in England, wherever. Now, when it says supernatural threats, for anyone who is more knowledgeable, does this guy go after werewolves? Does he go after, I don't know, exorcism, possessed ghosts? Whatever supernatural there is, lizardmen, I mean whatever, or is it just other vampires? If it's just other vampires, I'm like, I think it'd be really cool if this guy would go after like all sorts of other monsters and supernatural forces. You do have these ghouls that are kind of like vampire, like zombies, or I should say, yeah, zombie-like vampires, better way to word it. Like the look of them. It's a very, very violent show. It's a very, very gory, I should say, episode, if I understand show. And this is definitely more style above anything else. Yes, it's only the first episode, but looking a bit more into it, it seems like there's not going to be a lot of character development or depth. I know there's a lot of people who don't like it because the character is so OP that you never feel any weakness from the character. You never feel that the main character is in danger. I can understand, kind of like a male version of a Mary Sue. This is what I've read from people who watched it. There's some people who love it because it's just violent and gory and action. And I would say the first episode showcases that. In the present day, he's sent to do another job, and there's all these ghoul-like zombies. Zombie-like vampires. I mentioned ghouls. There's other smaller vampires, and they see. I keep wanting to call him Hellsing. They see Alucard, and the vampire's like, "Who are you?" Your death. So, I actually thought that the voice acting. I watched the English dub. Wasn't that bad. I've heard much, much worse dubbing. the attire of individuals like Alucard with these red glow of the glasses, and he's shot to shit, but he's laughing it up. And again, when the action scenes happen, they go full force, violent, gory. There's this funky beat playing. Alucard has his gun. There's like a 454 auto gun, auto mag, and 13mm exploding shells, and it'll be like up close to the gun. There's certain shells coming up with a little bit of like CG, but I thought it worked fine. Some people may have an issue with it, but I thought it worked fine in this instance. And up close to the gun, up close to the bullet coming out of the shell, and people would just get shot. People get hit. It's an explosion of blood. There's all these things around him. He shoots all in a circle, blowing heads up. Lack of development of characters, a very OP lead character, but a lot of style and a lot of cool factor. And therefore I understand the actual plot later on in the show was about Nazi vampires or something. That's another thing. People say that the plot is not really the best or that good, but style over substance. That's what it seems like, style over substance. So, depends what you want from it. Now, I'm not a big anime guy. There's been some I've enjoyed, like Akira I enjoyed, and what was it, Ninja Scroll I liked. But for this first episode, I thought it was fine. It was 50 minutes long. Other characters, you have this police officer, Sarah. S-E-R-A, Sarah. Pretty much they kept calling her police girl. Spoiler alerts. Did spoilers. Alucard asks her, "Are you a virgin? Are you a virgin?" I'm like, "What, you Udo Kier? You a virgin?" She says yes. He shoots through her in order to hit the vampire and kill the vampire. And then he gives her a choice: you could die or you could be a vampire. She accepts. He turns her. So now she helps him. And yeah, Alucard does have this kind of zest for loving being a vampire and being an anti-hero. And, you know, there's a pretty entertaining scene where they're in this sort of mansion and there's all these ghoul-like vampires. And the police girl goes to town. She has like the big fuck-off rifle. And she's able to get a bit of her vampire senses coming to her. And she's rushing. Like shooting and the rush and big old adrenaline rush. And he's like, that's the spirit. Just a lot of times with vampires is about the turmoil of living forever. But it seems like for Alucard, it's quite the opposite. He quite enjoys it. Now, for those who know the show, you can let me know if there is more character development or if you get to know more about Alucard and what makes him tick or other issues. Some I've read up say that there's a lot of moments where there's just not much going on. I didn't feel that way in this episode, but maybe it's other episodes where it seems like there's, at least they say, there's not a lot going on until an action scene happens. A bad guy is a Vatican priest, Father Anderson, who could also regenerate. He's been a weapon made to combat evil. See, some people have said that apparently there's some moments of comedy. The only comedy I saw in episode 1 is that when she is between life and death, it's like ghouls kind of chase her very goofy like, as she like runs. Oh, I don't know. I guess I just dealt with it. I'm like, okay, that was different. It didn't go on for too long. I mean, I just saw in episode 1 a show that was very dynamic in its animation, or at least I should say the look of it. There's a crisp look to it. When the action scenes happen, like I said, a lot of style, a lot of blood, a lot of mayhem. The character, while he's OP, the fact that he kind of loves this so much makes it a bit different, unique, interesting as a vampire. And maybe it's like they just want to sit down and watch a guy be a badass. I know how that can go. That's why I love a lot of the 80s action films and early 90s. Commando, Rambo 2, sometimes you just want to see a guy be a badass. Here, I mean, it's not up to Blade or Blade 2, but overall, the first impression was decent. Pretty decent. I don't really have a lot of issues. I can understand the whole OP thing where, spoilers, there's a point where the guy gets his head cut off, and gets like 30 blades at his chest, and it just comes back in this swirl of mist. And you sit there going, well, hell, in the first episode, if he could survive a decapitation, if he could survive 30 blades in the chest, including in the heart, then nothing can stop this thing. So what is the actual suspense drama when you know, based on first episode, there's no way he could die? How the hell else could he die? And maybe that's the point, is that to just have a badass who can't die and just have him kick some ass. I'm like, okay, if that's the case, then there'd be a lot of nice ass kicking. Or at least variety of it. Because I know sometimes, what was it? I think Blade. I reviewed the Blade animated, anime, I should say. One of the issues I had was that Blade kept killing the vampires in like the exact same way to do the exact same move. And that just became redundant after a while. Like, if you don't kill it, just, okay, chop his head off, like, this way, or then do it this way, and then maybe use, like, some cross weapon that blasts them back and makes, like, a cross hole in their body, or stay through their heart and rip the heart out, or rip the heart out, then, kind of like from Dusk Till Dawn, use a pencil. Like, at least give a variety to it. So, I don't know, for people who know the show, does he kill them in a variety of different ways, or is it just the same? Does he face other monsters, werewolves? In those fights, does he kill them in crazy ways, like rip a head off or something? Feel free to educate me. I'd love to be educated on this, because again, I can see the appeal of, you watch this as a kid and be like, yeah, kick the shit out of him, kick his ass, see bass. Like I said, style and cool factor over perhaps substance. I guess it's based on a manga, but I never read the manga. So like I said, I like the animation, I like the action, the voice acting, the English dub. Again, it's better than I've heard a lot of other ones, so I could deal with it. It was only 50 minutes long, so it didn't completely overstay its welcome. One thing is that in the, sorry about the cat, at the beginning, when the niece has been run away, I thought we would see more of those people get killed. It kind of Alucard waits that it cuts away, and then there's the dead bodies. I kind of want to see him go through the mayhem of killing, like, the uncle that shot her and stuff. Like, but I guess they were saving that for later, like for other action scenes. And I don't know. I think maybe people can answer this, because it didn't answer it here. Why is he? Why? What made it where Integra, her organization, are masters of Alucard? I don't know if they go through a backstory of his character throughout the show, or how he came up to that stature. Because it seems cool with being, I almost said submissive, but just in a way to Integra. And with an anime I'm surprised there was no sex thing in it, because a lot of these animes can have a lot of sexual content as well. Maybe that's something that comes up later. I'm not saying that's what I need, but I'm just surprised it wasn't in there. I think the closest that when the one vampire is holding the police girl, and he's kind of fondling her a little bit. So there was that part. But considering other animes I've seen, that was mild. But yeah, overall, first impression, not too bad. It was fun. I would say it was fun. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later.